Welcome back to New Rockstars. It's me, MT, and with the Wolverine being confirmed to be part of Marvel Studios' Deadpool 3 production, excited nerds everywhere who have been putting plastic knives in between their fingers are wondering just how the Fox Universe X-Men are going to factor into the overall MCU narrative and just when they'll start to connect. Well, my beautiful nerd baby brothers, sisters, and gender label resistors, what if I told you that Loki Season 2 could be that very connection to the Fox hero multiverse that we've been waiting for? And that the Loki Season 1 finale could hold a secret hint to that very link that might serve to bridge these two realities together. Let us dive into it together, Speculation Nation. But first, do not forget to hit up newrockstarsmerch.com to pick up our latest obsession shirts inspired by both She-Hulk and House of the Dragon. But they are only available for a limited amount of time. So hit up newrockstarsmerch.com today to pick them up so you can own them forever. Because once they're in the vault, it's easier to get into the TVA than to get into the New Rockstars vault. Let's just say that. And this video is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform for building your brand. More on them later. All right, gang. So I think that Kang the Conqueror was the very person who could have given us the biggest hint as to how the Fox X-Men will initially factor into the overall Marvel Cinematic Universe plan. Specifically, when He Who Remains is telling both Sylvie and the Loki whose neck wasn't turned into a fine powder by Thanos about his discovery of the multiverse, and he uses a particular imagery to illustrate this point. Roll the clip.
Before the TVA, a variant of myself lived on Earth in the 31st century. Then he discovered that there were universes stacked on top of his own.
Wait, did you see that? Because when Kang notes that he discovered universes stacked on top of each other, he specifically uses the imagery of universes with a large black hole at their very center. Doesn't that look like the very beginning of the Loki Season 1 finale? You know, when we get that massive zoom out of what appears to be two universes before the camera quickly zooms into the black hole on the right and reveals that the Citadel at the end of time and the entire secret timeline of the MCU resides within the right black hole's very epicenter. Do you remember that? Because I do. I firmly believe that this is because these two black holes depicted in this finale represent two separate cinematic universes, each with their own separate citadel, their own separate sacred timeline, and their own separate TVA force. You know, like the completely new TVA that we last left Loki in to be arrested by Mobius and B-15, who have never seen what a Tom Hiddleston Loki even looks like. Like, think about it. This is Mobius and Mobius that we're talking about here. The Loki expert who knows everything about Lokis. If this Mobius at the very end of the Loki finale is part of a TVA that doesn't even know what a Loki face looks like, they're likely in a version of the TVA that manages a multiverse that doesn't even have a Tom Hiddleston Loki in it. And I believe that this new TVA could potentially be the TVA for the Fox X-Men Sacred Timeline. And guys, it's October, which means we're all feeling a little spookier than normal. And when you think of spooky things, you tend to think of abandoned places that are falling apart. Like my life. Abandoned mansions, abandoned hospitals, and the spookiest of them all, abandoned websites. Your website does not have to be spooky though. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to create, update, and maintain a beautiful online presence for your business. You don't want your website looking like something that was hard-coded into HTML back in 1998, 2 years before the world would end in Y2K. You want it looking and functioning like the cream of the 2022 crop, and Squarespace can help you do that. Squarespace has a bunch of great features to help your business be successful. You can present members-only gated content, create email campaigns, or add online booking for appointments or sessions, all from the Squarespace interface. We are in the future, ladies and gentlemen. For me, my favorite aspect is the analytics section. That's where Squarespace makes it easy to dig into what's working, what's not, and figure out what levers you can pull to make your business even more successful. So head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/newrockstars to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/newrockstars for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. And thanks again for Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Because if you think about it, if He Who Remains views different realities as black holes, and we only really zoomed into the black hole on the right where He Who Remains and his citadel reside, then it serves to reason to me that the black hole on the left is a completely separate reality entirely, with its own citadel at the very center. And considering that Deadpool 3 is looking looking like it's going to be a direct sequel to Deadpool 2, a movie with a huge emphasis on time travel and altering timelines set in a super complicated and frankly nonsensical Fox X-Men timeline with its own weird branches. I can truly see Loki Season 2 being a primer that explains why Deadpool and Cable were able to cause so much mayhem in their own Fox X-Men multiversal timelines in this black hole on the left. Because judging by the very end of the Loki finale, when we first meet these new versions of Mobius and B-15, it sounds like their own separate sacred timeline has begun branching just like He Who Remains' MCU sacred timeline was.
That's what, 63 new branches in this unit alone?
Does he want us to just let them all branch?
Well, at this point, how are we even gonna stop it?
We can't!
And since we know from Kevin Feige himself that the branching timelines now allow for the previously restrictive rules of space-time to become absolutely unraveled and allowed for timeline crossover events like Spider-Man No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness in the MCU black hole, now that the new TVA from the finale is dealing with a similar thing in their black hole, this might just be exactly how the events of Days of Future Past and Deadpool 2 were allowed to happen. Because the TVA that was previously pruning and managing the Fox X-Men timelines are no longer doing that and just letting them branch, which is why Wolverine, Cable, and Deadpool were not arrested. So this all being said, if this neighboring multiverse is indeed the Fox X-Men cluster of timelines and universes, then I suspect Loki Season 2 to feature some surprise cameos from key Fox timeline influencers like Xavier, Magneto, and Jean Grey, and of course the mischievous timeline manipulators like Cable, Deadpool, and Wolverine, all three of whom would have been quickly arrested by their TVA were it not for the ensuing temporal chaos. And I think Marvel Studios would do this mainly for the direct purpose of trying to canonically explain the nonsensical timeline that Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios have inherited after Disney's acquisition of 20th Century Fox. Because having Loki tumble through the X-Men timeline with this new Mobius would be a great way of making sense of the mess that Fox made with all of its conflicting storytelling, while also bridging the gap between these two previously separate cinematic universes before Deadpool 3 hits the scene and breaks every record imaginable. My God, that movie is gonna make so much money. But anyways, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. You can follow me at MasterTainment on Twitter if you wanna see me tweet some weird shit, but most importantly, you can follow New Rockstars wherever we are on the internet. And when you do on YouTube, make sure you hit that notification bell so you can get notifications every time we upload a video. And of course, do not forget to hit up newrockstarsmerch.com so you can buy one of our cool latest Obsession shirts inspired by both She-Hulk and House of the Dragon, or literally anything else that we have. We sell stickers, pins, and all sorts of really cool things. So head on over to newrockstarsmerch.com today. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching again. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.